My brother is dead. My family is awful. I'm still a mess. Help? Trigger warning. I 20F ran away from home when I was 16. My family was, and is, incredibly toxic. My father was verbally, mentally, and emotionally abusive. My mother enabled him and was mentally abusive in her own right. I was forced to work full-time in addition to going to school because I was expected to pay rent in addition to repayment of money spent on taking care of me as a kid. I'm not proud of it, but I started hiding some of my tips and lying about how much I made when my father asked for his payments. Eventually, the owner of the restaurant where I worked offered to let me live in the apartment upstairs for very cheap in exchange for some extra SID work. I agreed and I moved out one night in secret. There was an awful blow-up and my father showed up at the restaurant and demanded to know where I was. Thankfully, the hostess and another waitress knew everything and told him I quit and they didn't know where I was. I haven't spoken to my father since the night I left home. He knows I'm alive and well because I called my mother and I know she told him. I wouldn't tell her where I was staying, just that I was okay and wasn't coming back. I waited until I was sure I could make it on my own to let her know. The one person I stayed in touch with was my younger brother. We emailed at first and then texted, once he got a phone, several times a week. I wouldn't say we were super close or anything, but closer than anyone else in the family. I felt guilty about leaving him behind with my parents and our equally abusive older sister, 23/F, who still lives at home with them. My father was always worse to my brother. Maybe because he was the only boy so he could take it, I don't know. But he was terrible to him. I am convinced he drove him to suicide. A little over a year ago, my brother took his own life. It gutted me. I tried to be there for him and support him as best I could, but I work all the time and I wish I could have done more. I feel like I failed him. I found out from my mother. She called me from his phone the morning after they found him. I also found out that my father was just going to abandon him at the morgue and let him be buried by the county. I couldn't do that to him. So I called a funeral home and arranged for him to be cremated. I took his ashes and scattered them on the beach where we used to go fishing together. I think it's what he would have wanted. My father is angry though. Really angry. I paid for my brother's cremation with a credit card. It was $6,000 and I don't really have the money to spare, but it was important. It's going to take years to pay it all off, but he was worth that to me. But that isn't how my father sees it. He somehow has this crazy idea that I had $1 million life insurance policy on my brother and that I'm rich now. He and my sister have been showing up at the restaurant where I used to work and demanding to see me. The owner keeps calling me and telling me about it. I've called the cops, but they won't do anything unless the owner wants to charge them with trespassing. I called my mother and tried to talk some sense into her, but she believes this insane story about life insurance and now she thinks I killed my brother to collect the insurance money. My sister keeps calling me from different phone numbers and leaving awful threatening messages demanding her cut of the money I don't freaking have. They are all crazy and hurtful and I am worried this is going to get worse. What can I do? Update. It's been a while. A lot has happened, some good some bad. I am prepared for a lot of I told you so-s. Also more this is fake. DMs. But so many people wrote to me over the holiday and offered support and asked about me and my situation that I wanted to post an update. First of all, thank you to everyone who replied to my last post. It means a lot to me that so many people cared. The advice and support I received was really desperately needed. I didn't know how much. Honestly, when I posted I was hoping for some kind of magic answer that would get my unreasonable family to just listen to me. What I got was much more. I guess I couldn't see just how blind I was to certain people in my life. My mother especially. I always labeled her, in my head, as the good parent. She and I always had a somewhat okay relationship even if she let my father do all kinds of awful things. Even after she started accusing me of killing my brother for money, I kept hoping she would snap out of it if I could just convince her of how life insurance works. But a lot of the comments made me realize she really is an enabler herself and that I really did need to cut ties and move on. That was so hard for me. I didn't want to think that I'd never be able to see my parents or my sister again, not even for Christmas. I know there's a lot of bad in what they've done, but there were good times, too. Times I will always miss. So many people offered kindness and support. I couldn't allow myself to accept any monetary donations that were offered, but I do appreciate the gesture. One especially kind and amazing Redditor offered me something I couldn't turn down. They helped me get a job at the company they worked for in a new state. Without their help, I don't know if I'd be here to post this update. I won't call them out, but they know how grateful I am. Okay, on to the actual update. As I mentioned, I have a new job. It's better than what I was doing and it has some great benefits attached. It's in a new state, where I am now, along with a new roommate and her kitty. Uprooting myself and finding a place to live in a pandemic was challenging, but my roommate has been awesome and very understanding. She knows my situation and won't let anyone claiming to be family inside if they should somehow manage to find me. Everything is in her name that can be, and she's happy to keep it that way to help keep me safe. I figured things out with my new employer, who allowed me to do almost everything related to interviewing and screening online, so I knew I'd have a job waiting for me. I also found my new roommate online and we FaceTimed a bunch, so we knew we'd get along when I got there. She even picked me up and helped me get settled. When I told my landlord and former boss I'd be leaving for good, she was sad but happy for me. She waived my last month's rent and even gave me a Christmas card with some cash in it to help me start my new life. But it wasn't all good. I made a mistake and I know a lot of you warned me about it. I could not leave without saying goodbye. Plus, I needed something to remember my brother by. He had a huge collection of old band shirts and I wanted just one of them. I knew my mother hadn't touched his room, saving evidence for the investigation, she said, so I knew she would have one. I called her up and told her I wanted to see her. I told her that I wanted to have dinner with her and her alone, and she agreed not to tell my father or my sister about it. I told her I wanted one of his shirts and she agreed to bring one for me. I told her I was leaving town and that I wanted to say goodbye for closure, and because it was Christmas, which was always such a special time for her and me. I wanted to meet somewhere in public, so I picked a restaurant we had been to before that I knew she liked. I got there early and watched her come in, so I knew she was really alone before she sat down. We had a really nice meal together. She seemed to have actually changed her mind about my father's crazy allegations. We talked about my brother. I told her where I'd scattered his ashes in case she wanted to visit with him. When it came time to leave, I paid the bill and asked about the shirt. She told me she left it in the car so it didn't get stains on it. She had been so nice and friendly that dinner that I trusted her. I went with her to the parking lot to get my brother's shirt out of the car for me. My father was waiting there for us. And he had a gun. As soon as I saw him, I screamed as loud as I could and ran. I went back inside the restaurant and yelled that there was a man after me and he had a gun. He barged in screaming and I ran off into the bathroom and locked myself in. I called the police and I waited in there with the dispatcher on the phone until they came and got him. I pressed charges and so did the restaurant. My mother lied about the shirt. I should have known she would. That is my biggest regret, I think, because showing up there like that was really the push I needed to finally cut all of them out of my life for good. I am sad that I have nothing to remember my brother by, but I like to think he's looking over me. I now have an order of protection. I changed my number and deleted all my social media. And I am thinking of changing my name, too. Maybe taking my brother's first name as my surname as a way to honor him by. I hope 2021 can be my year. Update 2. Hi Reddit. It's been a while and I honestly forgot about this site entirely. I don't use any social media or anything, so I'm not really in the habit of keeping up with these things. But Reddit sent an email about a privacy update and reminded me about it, so I thought I would share an update in case anyone still cares. The past 4 years have been a lot of growth for me. I did change my name as some suggested. I didn't end up taking my brother's name out of fear of linking me to my former family and making it easier for them to find me. I did want a connection though, so I took the fairly common last name of his favorite singer as my last name and a first name I've always loved and wanted to name a daughter someday. My roommate was amazing. She got married last year and moved out with her now husband. I still see them occasionally as friends. She let me keep the apartment and I also ended up with her kitty because he liked me better and her husband is mildly allergic. So we're besties now, facing the world together. I ended up leaving the job that kind Redditor helped set me up with after 2 years. I found a much better role closer to the apartment. It pays better and I can walk to work. I'd call it a win. I know everyone is wondering if there has been more family drama, but luckily there hasn't really. I haven't heard from any of them since I left. I am waiting for it though and trying my best to make sure it can't ever happen. I do wish I had something left of my brother's. He'd be 20 now, the same age I was when all of this went down. It still hurts to know he won't ever be 20, or 30, or anything else. I wish I had kept a piece of him or maybe had some of his ashes made into a necklace or something just to have him with me. Everything happened so fast and I never thought I'd end up leaving home, so I always thought I'd just be able to go visit our beach if I wanted to talk to him at all. But I guess that's the trade-off. I don't date at all. I really keep pretty much to myself, at least for now. I don't think I can trust people enough to get close. I am in therapy and it's helping. Things are honestly pretty good right now. I just wanted everyone who wondered to know that. So many kind people offered support and advice and opened my eyes to realities I wasn't ready to recognize. I might not be here if not for them, especially the person who put me in touch with resources and helped me find a new job. I owe my new life to them, so thank you.